I did it. I accomplished my goal. I got the level 1 and level 2 Google certificate for being a certified Google educator. It was a lot of work. I probably should have only done one, but I was ambitious and I said I was going to do two, so I did two. The reason that I chose to do the Google Certified Educator program is because at work we use Microsoft all the time, and I have a pretty good understanding of all the things Microsoft is capable of. And whenever I work with a teacher in Houston ISD or any of the surrounding districts that use Microsoft, it's very easy for me to just like interface with their classroom and fit into their pre-existing system because we all work on the same platform. But there are a few teachers that are starting to use Google, and I needed to know what Google could do so that I could facilitate programs at Space Center Houston that use Google in case we have educators that want us to use Google. And so here are some of the things that I learned. The Google Classroom environment is actually very robust. And one of the advantages that I saw is that you can use your typical Gmail account. I have 3 separate Gmail accounts for different uses, and I can use each of them to create a Google Classroom environment. You don't have to have a Google Educator account to use the basic features, which is really good because I just wanted to learn. And so having that ability to learn without having to have Space Center Houston purchase a Google license for all of us was pretty beneficial. Google's LMS is not terrible. There were some quirks about it that made it a little bit confusing and hard to learn. Logging in is essential. You can start taking the courses without logging in, but then you have to remember exactly where you are. I didn't log in the first time I took a course, and then when I got home, I had to dig through to figure out where I was. And then I realized, oh, if I just stay logged in with my Gmail account, it'll keep track of my progress for me. So that was nice. There were a few situations where I thought that they needed to update the platform. And there were a few questions that I just think they have wrong. And I don't know that I get to tell Google that they are wrong, but I feel like I should tell Google that they're wrong. And they asked me for my opinion. So I just wrote it in the forum. I was like, hey, this question, you did it wrong. So there. One of the coolest things about the Google Educator just ideology is that it is a big proponent of project-based learning, which is something that I'm a huge fan of. I love the idea of letting students empower themselves by doing their own projects, deciding what their projects are going to be, researching all of the necessary information, and putting it together in a unique style, giving their unique perspective, and even presenting it in a way that'll be unique to them. Google has lots of ways that you can present things. I actually really like Google Sites. I had never done one before, so having the ability to do that is now something that I'm probably going to do more often. It's a great way to present information, and you can share it with anyone. So it's a good system. And project-based learning in general lets students in the driver's seat, basically. They get to decide how they want to learn and, in some senses, what they learn. It allows them to show off their strengths and identify their weaknesses rather than just regurgitating facts that they've read. Lessons learned. So on the Google Educator page, it says 3 hours on it, but it's specifically referring to the amount of time that you have to take the test. That was part of the reason I decided to do level 1 and level 2. I thought, oh, it's a 3-hour course for each one. That's only 6 hours. I can do that. Then once I started preparing for the exam, I realized, oh, it's a 3-hour exam with 15 hours of content in preparation for each exam. And to be fair, that's only if you take as long as Google expects you'll take. It has lots of links that allow you to dive deeper into each of the subjects as well. And had I done all of that and I'd been completely unfamiliar with all of the platforms or all of the software, I would have been there for hours. It would have been an entire full-time job. But luckily, I was able to absorb enough learning and the assessments at the end of each section. I was able to pass those, so I felt ready to take the exam without doing the additional work of following all of the hyperlinks. So hopefully I find a way to incorporate this more directly into my current role as an education specialist. If not, I do think that just having the experience is valuable. I am more comfortable with technology than most, but this was still an area that I hadn't delved into. So now that I have this experience, should I ever need to, I will be ready to assist teachers that are using the Google platform. So that's pretty cool. Only cost me $35. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.